Entry number. Interesting find today. A human speculative fiction book that theorized about creating artificial beings in a human's image. Homunculi. Clearly impossible, particularly with how vague the book was about the process. It does make one wonder why humans would be interested in such a thing. Perhaps they lack purpose without lesser creatures to lord over. It's impossible to say. Entry number. Still need to adjust the core's output levels. I keep returning to that human's idea. Homunculi. Would such a being have a soul? It wasn't mentioned. Entry number. Souls are consistent in their shape. If a soul is like a biological cell, then there appears to be a standard internal structure between humans and monsters containing that entity's power. If a similar structure or container were created artificially, could a powerful soul be transferred from one being to another? Could a soul survive a theoretical transplant? How much of a soul could survive that process? Would the barrier consider a transplanted soul a living thing? Would it be possible to use the artificial container to change the properties of that being and the soul inside it? How exactly does the barrier determine whether something is animate or inanimate? Is it based on the soul or something else? Entry number. Another human dead. That makes 5. Entry number. I need to stop thinking about this. I can't focus. Entry number. It can be done. Entry number. I've run every permutation of every variation on my theory, and all the simulations lead to the same conclusion. It is possible. Using the same principles from the capsules, remodeled into the proper shape and size, with the correct starting material and the proper environment to encourage growth, life can begin. The beings created will be formless and non-sapient, but their soul will be capable of channeling and amplifying magical energy due to the artificial soul structure. If I can get the human souls from Asgard to augment the flow, the potential power channeled through this being could be enough to break the barrier, to set us free. Not to mention, the new life form in and of itself would be incalculably valuable, an unprecedented breakthrough in the field of magical biology. The amount of information that could be learned from this new life form would be immeasurable. The possibilities thrill me. I'd forgotten what this feels like. Entry number. I can't do this. Entry number. I keep asking myself what a human would do in this situation. What would a human do to try and protect someone they loved? To find an answer. To find freedom. They don't believe in limitations. Entry number. I do not believe in fate. There is only a lack of options. Entry number. Drawing up a list of the requirements for this experiment, I find that I am not only the ideal candidate, but the only candidate. Only I can do this. Even if I had a willing assistant to allow me to use their soul, only a powerful soul will be able to withstand the procedure, and even then, survival is not 100% certain. I am the only one left with a strong enough soul that is an option. It must be me. Even my physical body is uniquely suited to donate material to this cause. There will be an emotional cost as well, of course, and even in that regard, I am the best suited. When a hypothesis is proven incorrect, one must take the new data and construct a new hypothesis based on new evidence. This applies to all things, even concept of the self. Events have proven that I am selfish, cold, and incapable of true emotional connection with any living being. Given previous data, it is not unreasonable to assume that I have not achieved the limits from my own capacity for cruelty. My level of violence prevents me from feeling anything for anyone. and it makes me uniquely suited to what this experiment would require. Logically, I am the only one who can do this, and the best suited to do this. It may cost me my life, but I never earned it in the first place. Entry number. Before I begin this project, I need to understand the costs. If I have even a fraction of a doubt about any of this, then I lack the conviction to continue, and the project is doomed from the beginning. I can't do something like this unless I'm willing to see it through to the end. Otherwise, it will all be for nothing. To get the material required, I will have to mutilate myself physically and permanently. It will likely be excruciating, although simulations I've been running suggest I won't suffer any loss to dexterity. Getting the soul material runs a not insignificant chance of death. I've left a 10% margin of error, but even a small mistake would easily kill me. If I'm going to do this, then I must be willing to pay with my life. I must be realistic about the end results, even in the best case scenario. Even if everything goes exactly to plan, and everything works out in the most ideal way for everyone, no one will ever forgive me for what I did to get us there. The experiments and tests I will run on these beings, the environment I will keep them in, creating life to use as a tool for others' ends, that is not something that can be forgiven. Even if salvation is found for everyone else, there will be no salvation for me. The king will never forgive me. Alphys will never forgive me. My name will be condemned. I'll be stricken from the historical records, banned from pursuing my life's passion ever after, definitely imprisoned, possibly executed. And that is the best case scenario. All for the possibility of a solution, not even a guaranteed success. I must be willing to maintain a strict level of emotional and physical distance from the beings at all times to prevent any risk of doubting myself or my course of action. I may have to do reprehensible, cruel, unbelievable things to another living being over a sustained period of time to determine its limitations and potential as a tool. I will have to turn off every emotion I have and focus solely on my goal. I will have to become entirely human in my thinking and approach to the beings. I cannot show any signs of weakness. I cannot turn back until it is done. I need to understand this. I need to understand and know this before I can begin. I cannot do this unless I understand. I cannot do this if I doubt. I cannot do this if I'm not willing to pay the price. I can only move forward if I am truly determined to do whatever it takes to achieve my goals. There's no point in further speculation until I've made my choice. Entry number. Over and over again, I've stood by to cower helplessly, while people I loved suffered and died in front of me. I watched families be destroyed and said nothing, did nothing to prevent it. The dust is on my shoulders. Again and again, I've stood by to watch these tragedies happen, unable to care enough to try and prevent them. Time is rapidly running out. This will be my last chance to try and do something to justify my continued existence at others' expense. I am capable of doing something. It may not succeed, but I can still act. Doing so will destroy my life, but I can still make that choice. I am running out of time. Am I willing to risk everything on this one long shot? Either way, in the end, I will lose what I love. Is it better to try and fail, or to let tragedy take its course? I can't sleep. Entry number. No turning back.